All right, we're back to see who plays Mboko in the final of Canada. She just beat Raducanu. Then we've got Osaka taking on Tauson. Rematch of Auckland that was at the start of the year. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the end of that match, but hopefully today we do. Hobbs. Thank you for the $12. The crowd is drunk on maple syrup. That's funny because they're from Canada. All right. So let's see. I feel like this match is going to be very quick. This is not going to be a long match. I feel like the pace is going to be a little frantic. The way they play is very aggressive. So I'm not going to... I'm not going to expect this to take 3 hours. Feels like this is going to be a serve bot-ish match. Cam, please cover Hashanah and Zverev. Sorry, that is a negative. I am unable to do that at this time. I'm sorry. Mboko versus Osaka. After Mboko will win against her. Okay. All right. I have no idea who's serving first, but we'll find out in the next little bit. Hello, Baba. Hello. Good girl. Oh, you're cold. You go outside, did you? All right. So Zverev, by the way, for those asking, is up 3-2 in the third set. All right. By the way, Mboko is almost in the top 30 now. So that's fun. I'm glancing at this Zverev match every now and again. You're not missing much, Cam? Okay, good. Good. Okay. And Tauson won the toss, elected to receive. So Osaka will serve first. We are going to be watching Shelton versus Fritz, which is coming up after this. By the way, chat, we've almost been live for 3.5 hours already from that one match. Oh, get stuffed. Does Cincinnati really start tomorrow? Oh my God. Chat, this is so dumb. What a stupid... Why do they not have Fonseca at night? That's one thing I want to know. Why is Fonseca and Venus playing during the day? Get stuffed. Stupid. I guess because... I don't know. Why is Venus not playing at night? Crazy. Why are are they all starting tomorrow? What's going on? So stupid. You're telling me I got to wake up at 1 a.m. to watch a match? Cam working hard to avoid expletives. Yeah, I'm not. This is so dumb. Anyways, as the backhand goes into the front of Osaka, and Tauson hits it wide, and Osaka takes the first point of the match, 15-love. Yeah, we ain't watching Cincinnati tomorrow. I'm sorry, but not sorry. Forget that. We are watching Canada finals. I ain't watching Cincinnati. I am not watching Cincinnati tomorrow. Forehand winner Osaka. 30 love. You can miss me with that shit. As with a fault second serve. As we return now to the backhand of Osaka. Forehand now from Tauson, but Osaka's forehand goes wide. No. Anyways, 40-15. All right. Osaka holds. 1 love. Still having the day off on Friday. Depends on who plays. Probably, yeah. Because to be honest, like I said, first round of the men's is pretty mid, except for one match which is happening tomorrow at 1 a.m., which I'm like, what are you doing to me? Let me have a look on the women's side. Is there any good first round matches on the women's side? There usually is. But if Osaka wins this, she then gets a performance bye, so we won't have to watch Osaka tomorrow on Friday. If she loses, we'll watch her. If Osaka plays first round, we'll watch her. If she doesn't, we won't. And on the men's side, first rounds, nothing's going on. First round is a pass. That's a no from me. Not for that. 15 love. So yeah, if Osaka wins this, then we all get the day off Friday. Yay! So chat, hopefully you're all going for Osaka right now. Osaka wins, you can take a long week, have a long weekend. As that goes out by Tauson, it's 15-0. Actually, no, take the day off and then come back on Saturday. As the return goes in the front of Tauson. And a slice from Osaka goes up and long. 30-15. How does a performance bye work? So, it doesn't always happen in every tournament, but for the big tournaments, it does happen. It's a performance bye is when a player who is supposed to be playing first rounds of next week's tournament can't make it there in time because they're playing a final or a final of this week. So Mboko plays the final tomorrow. It's not the same as special exempt. Plays the final, so don't put that in the chat, please, because then it confuses everybody. So the finals tomorrow, Mboko plays, and then they're not going to make her play on Friday in another city. So they're giving her a performance bye. It's almost like, you played really well last week. So this week we're going to give you a chance to get to Cincinnati and take an extra couple of days or an extra day to get ready for the next week. So no, that's all right, Dutchie. That's all right. Some people are getting confused with it, so I just want to make sure it's clear that it's not the same thing. By the way, Osaka also, if she wins this match, she will also get a performance bye, which means that it's basically just a player that's not seeded getting a bye. For what? Because they played well this week. So they did really well this week, so the next tournament's like, hey, you know what? Don't get here tomorrow, take a couple of days, and you'll play in a couple of days to play second round. So that's basically what it is. And it rarely happens because we rarely have a crossover like this where there's one tournament ends when the other one starts, like the same day. Like tomorrow, first round Cincinnati, finals of Canada. It never happens when we have these overlaps. The only other time it happened recently was when we had, I think it was Guadalajara and like tournaments in Tokyo, and players couldn't get from Mexico to Japan in time to play matches. So they allowed players to get a bye in the first round to make their way over to the next tournament. Yeah, Beijing and Wuhan, because there's a little bit of an overlap with them as well. Maybe it wasn't Tokyo, maybe it was Beijing. But was it Beijing? I can't remember. It was like 3 years ago. It was a whole thing. Raducanu was not happy. It was a whole thing. Anyway, so yeah, it's just so that it allows the players that do well this week a chance for them to play next week without having to rush and play. Tauson holds 1-1. So yeah. By the way, it's 3-3 with Zverev and Khachanov. So what happens to their first round opponent? So if you notice the draw, both Mboko and Osaka were supposed to be playing qualifiers in the first round. So what ends up happening is that those qualifiers get replaced with the performance bye. So I know it's confusing. It's weird. It's such a weird concept that doesn't get used very often, but when it does, it's very confusing. So it means that I'm just trying to think. We've still got the same amount of qualifying players. So you still got 12 qualifying players, but not a qualifier. It's a lucky loser. So Osaka and Mboko, if they hadn't won today, they would have played lucky losers. So there's two extra spots in the draw for lucky losers. So that way, if Osaka does lose this match, she will play a lucky loser in the first round. So a player that lost in the qualies. And that player probably is going to be Sierra, the third seed, who lost in the qualies. Because usually qualies are based on... the lucky losers are based on the high-ranked qualies. So yeah, it's a confusing concept, but it's, I guess it's the only way they can do it with the current format of schedule. So if Osaka wins, she gets a performance bye, and then she doesn't have to play a lucky loser, which means no lucky losers awarded to anybody. It's probably why the draw didn't come out at the same time as a men's draw, because they're probably waiting for the results to play out before they did the draw, and then they put the draw out at midnight anyway, because they found out, Osaka and Mboko know they're going to possibly need a performance bye, so we need to make sure that we accommodate for that. People are going to say, but the draw's rigged. It's not rigged. They would have done the draw, and then they would have probably seen that they probably would have placed Osaka and Mboko in the draw. And it's hard to know because they didn't do it live. But I would guess that they did the draw the way they do the draw normally. But when they saw the opponents when they saw Osaka and Mboko in the draw, they probably switched around so that those players, Mboko and Osaka, played a qualifier or a lucky loser in the first round. So when they got drawn, they would have said, well, Osaka's playing a lucky loser because of the performance bye. So it's not rigged. It's just so they could allow for the performance bye, if that makes sense. So, yeah, and they didn't do it live, so we don't actually know the process of how it actually went, but I would guess that they did the draw normally. They looked at Osaka, and let's say Osaka was playing against, I don't know, Arango. And they went, well, she can't play Arango because she's going to have to play, she has to, need a performance bye. Let's switch Arango with a qualifier somewhere in the draw, flip them around and go from there. That would be my guess. Is it rigging the draw? It's not rigging the draw. It's just manipulating the draw because they have to account for performance buys. Again, that's my guess. I don't know if maybe I'm totally wrong, and maybe it's some other reason, other way of doing things. But same with Mboko. Mboko, she would have been drawn in the draw, and they would have said, she was playing a qualifier. She would have, again, maybe she was supposed to play, Tatiana Maria, and they went, oh well, that can't happen because she won't be here in time. She needs a performance bye. We'll switch her around, and we'll flip her. We'll put Maria somewhere else in the draw, and we'll put a qualifier there in her place. Again, you might think it's. I mean, how else do they do it? It's the only way they can, right? To accommodate for these performance buys, So yeah, it's just so they can allow for the performance buy. And again, that's a total guess because we didn't see it. They didn't do it live. They didn't show it anywhere, so it's a total guess. But that would seem, and seems like the most fair way to do it. Is you just do the draw normally. You see the two players that might need to get a performance bye, and you make sure that they play lucky losers because they're the two players that you have to accommodate for because of the performance bye, and then you just switch out the other player, randomly somehow. Can you repeat all that? No, I just did. Anyways, 30 love. Would they not just set the draw randomizer to ensure that Mboko and Osaka were placed first? Actually, you know what, Chris? That is a good idea. That might have happened. That actually makes more sense. Maybe they went first. We're going to randomize Osaka and the first two players to go in the draw. Osaka and Mboko first go in the draw. That's actually probably how it went. That actually makes way more sense than what I said. They probably put them in first and then went, okay, Mboko's going to play qualifier or lucky loser, Osaka lucky loser, and then they populate the draw the way they usually do it. That's probably exactly how they did it, Chris. That would make way more sense than what I said. Yeah. So they probably went, okay, Osaka, she's in the draw, Mboko in the draw, and then worked around them. Easy. 40 love. Chris, you were probably on the money with that. Which means that there's no crying of rigging the draw, if that's how because that's exactly how they would have done it. Makes so much sense. Does my finger smell okay? I don't know. Can you smell it? Hey, Kevin, sniff, sniff. What's it smell like? Can you smell it? Sniff, sniffy, sniff. See, Kevin, what's it smell like, Kevin? Can you smell my finger? Huh? You got it? Sniffy, sniff, sniffity, sniff, sniff. Huh? All right. Osaka gets a winner. It's 40-15. Tauson serves. A fault, second serve. Second serve. Into the forehand of Osaka. Return goes out. It's 2-0. Two all. In the end, both will withdraw. Nah, Hadar. I tell you though, Mboko might withdraw because she does have a wrist injury. So I could see her pulling out, but I don't think Osaka's withdrawing. Osaka will play next week. I don't think, but Mboko, you might be right because Mboko had a bad fall and hurt her wrist. today, so she might be in doubt. But Osaka, I think, will play because she has to kind of play for that seed to qualify for, or to guarantee her seed at the US Open. Love 15. I would fly to Australia for one sniff. Chat, write down that person's name and call the police immediately. We need to get a restraining order right now. I'm talking right now. A person's flying over halfway across the world or wherever the hell they're coming from to sniff my finger. We need the police right now. Get the cops. Call the cops. Call the world police. I don't know. We got international police. That person needs to be kept well away from here. Luckily, Australia doesn't exist, so you'll never find me. But still, we gotta be safe. Call the world police. All right, 1530, great return winner. All right, first serve is a fault. Second serve. Second serve. There's a backhand return from Tauson's a winner. Jesus. All right. 15-40. 15-40. 15-40. Tauson to take the break. 15-40. 15-40 is Osaka hits a winner, and it's 30-40. One saved. All right, 30-40. 30-40 as Osaka serves in front of Tauson. Return goes back on Osaka. Off the tape. And a winner from Osaka. She gets lucky. Deuce. All right, deuce. Why are you scratching me? What is it? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Poor Mia, why did you... That stinks. Mia farted, everybody. Yeah, you did that. It was you. Go get your toy. Go get your toy. Go get your toy. Go on, go get your toy. Go get your toy. All right, advantage Osaka. Go get your toy. Go. Go on. Go on. Advantage Osaka. As Osaka serves a fault, second serve. Second serve. Second serve. As we return now into the forehand, backhand of Osaka. Forehand from Tauson on the stretch. Osaka into the slice of Tauson. As Osaka forehand to the forehand of Tauson. Tauson hits it out. And it's 3-2. Osaka leads. All right, come on. Come on. What is it? What's up? What's up? What's up? What is it? All right, 3-2. All right, 3-2. I want a Hashnov Shelton final. Okay. Well, Zverev's up 5-4 at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on his score because we're going to be watching. We're going to be watching Shelton Fritz after this. Contrast these two with Mboko marching around the court. I'm now an Mboko fan. Cool. All right, 3-2. By the way, Jannik Sinner is on the side of the fans and says that he would prefer to have a 1 week Masters 1000. There are so many tournaments like this now. They're getting long, but we can't control everything. It's nice for the fans because they can enjoy 2 weekends of tennis. If you ask me, I prefer 1 week Masters, like in Monte Carlo, for example. I prefer it, but that's fine. By the way, it's not for the fans. It's only for the people that live there. By the way, you can do a 1 week Masters over 2 weekends. You could start on a Saturday, end on a Sunday, the following Sunday. You could do that. All right. Love 15. Double fault from Tauson. Tell Sinner we didn't ask him. He was asked a question. Why are you being so rude? Rude. You're being rude. Love 15. 10-day Masters start Friday with headline night session. Let's have a 9-day Masters with no bye in the first round, 64 players, and starting on the Saturday to the following Sunday. That's a 9-day Masters starting Saturday, following Sunday, so you get 2 weekends of tennis, but also no bye in the first round. Start on the round of 64, whatever it is, 64 players, whatever. Go from there. Or 16 seeds get a bye in the first round. Maybe. That's the way to do it. That way you can cash in on the weekends, but also the tournaments are not a pain in the ass for the players and the fans alike. All right. 15:30. 15:30. As we return now the forehand of Tauson. Forehand Osaka to the slice of Tauson. Osaka with the backhand pass. Tauson volley in the net. 15:40. Gil had a good conversation, a great discussion about pros and cons of longer Masters. Okay, I have to listen to it. I'm sure he has some really good takes. Can you give us some bullet points on what he said? What were some of the pros and cons? I mean, we all know the cons. What were some of the pros? I find it's hard to find the pros to these tournaments. Oh, you mean it, right? All right, 15:40. Longer Masters means more money for players. That's true. That is one of the pros. 15:40. Return the forehand to Tauson. Forehand from Osaka. Tauson goes in the net. There's the break. Osaka 4-2. More money for the venue. Yeah, more money for the tournament. Yep. So more money is the pro. Money. Cash. Moolah. Benjamins. So what are the pros that don't involve money? What are some of the pros that are like for the sport besides money? What's this? Gotcha. Get it. 15 love. Great playing, Osaka. Do your thing. Yeah, well, she was down break points, and now she's won 9 of the last 10 points. Gil also said players would have to be willing to take a pay cut if they're short in the Masters, and whether they would, I don't know. But they've just started bringing in these Masters, 2-week Masters, so it wouldn't be that big of a change. By the way, look, I'm not questioning Gil. I'm sure he's done way more research than I have. What is the prize money difference, though, from this year to last year? That is there. How big of the difference is it? So last year, the men's champion got $1 million, and the ladies champion got $500,000. And then this year, the ladies champion gets an extra $200K. The men's champion gets an extra $75. So the women, the WTA get way more. They get an extra $200,000 for winning this year compared to last year. The men only get an extra $75, but they still got way more than the ladies, which is another conversation for another day. What about the final? What about the finalist? $500,000 for the finalist, $500 for the men. So the finalists get a little prize money boost. Quarterfinalist was last year got 100 and 100,000. The quarterfinalists get an extra, 20 grand. So there's obviously the winners get way more in the boost and prize. What are the first rounds though? So round of, what is it? What are we doing? So obviously first round matches that would never have happened. So players are now lower ranked players. So like if you're number 50, let's say you're number 78 in the world, you're going to get a guaranteed $20,000 if you lose in the first round. Whereas last year you wouldn't have got a chance to play. You would have had to win the qualies to get a chance to get that extra money. So that's good. That's a pro. Round of 16 with 91,000 last year. This year it's 100,000. So again, a little boost. So there you go. So there's more prize money to go around, which is nice. So that is a pro, and I think that is one of the only pros, unfortunately. But that's definitely a pro. All right, 40-30. As Osaka serves a fault, second serve. A day off between matches theoretically leads to rested players better quality matches. Not sure I buy that though. Yeah, that's been proven the players have said that it's not really the case. Anyways, 5-2 Osaka. I mean, Sinner got injured last year because he had a day off between matches and he was doing weights training on his day off, and he got injured, right? So we've kind of seen that. And also, Chad, if you just put yourself in the player's shoes, right? If you play every second day, yeah, okay. If you play every second day at a slam, it's sort of given, right? It's normal, right? But if you play every second day at a 1,000 as well, what are you going to do on your day off? Like your day off, you're going to train, you're going to practice, you're going to be around the facility, so you're still going to have that like buzz, right? You're still going to be buzzing because you're still like, focused on trying to win the thing. You don't really get a break or a day off in the sense of like a break. Like you don't get to just like, I'm just going to travel the city and I'm just going to like forget about tennis. It's not really the same as when you get like a week of nothing. So Bill, like that's where the day off thing, yeah, it's a nice concept, but it's like, I think players would probably rather play 5 days in a row, or 5 days out of 7, and then get a week off, than having to play 7 days in 12, and every second day you get a day off. It's like, Chad, if you're working we all work, right? If you're working at a job, would you rather have every second day off, or would you rather work 4 in a row and then 3 days off? I know that's not how the world works always, but I would rather work a big chunk and then have time off, rather than working like 1 day on, 1 day off, because 1 day on, 1 day off doesn't feel like a break. Like if I have a day off tomorrow and then come back the next day, 1 day I don't feel like it's a day off. Like, I'd rather be like 4 days or 5 days, 2 days, 5 days, 4 days, whatever, 3 days. And I'm sure maybe the players, again, yeah. If you play a long match, I'd rather have a recovery time. I mean, that's a conversation too, right? I mean, that's a pro. That's a pro as well, right? Is that if it rains, you got time to spare, right? You got days to spare. Players don't have to play 2 matches in a day. That's a good thing. If you play a long match or a late match the night before, you don't have to play the next day. So if you play until like 2 a.m. one night, the next day you don't have to play. So that's a pro. So there are, but again, how rare is that, and how many players does that affect? It affects the 2 players that are playing at midnight on one of the days. If it happens. I don't think it's not like super common, and it doesn't help. It doesn't affect everybody. It affects the 2 players that are playing after midnight on center court or whatever. It's not really that common that it should be, that it's going to benefit everybody. It's not going to help everybody. Most players are playing during the afternoon. Not many players even play at night. They save the night session for the center courts, and that's about it, right? Most players are done by 8 p.m. unless it rains, and that's again, unless it rains. $15.30. As with a second serve into the back end of Osaka, slice from Tauson. Into the back of Osaka as Tauson slice. Again, the back of forehand of Osaka as Tauson on the stretch. Into the forehand of Osaka. Osaka puts it away. And it's 15-40. Get your toy. Go get your toy. Go get your toy. Go on. Why are you yelling scoreboard? It's 15-40. Can you not yell at me? All right. 15-40. Set points as we had an ace from Tauson. 1 save. 30-40. The rhythm of playing every day is probably more likely to lead to better quality, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, days off can also be not a great thing. I mean, it sounds like a great thing, but sometimes, maybe a day off is going to ruin momentum. Stop momentum. You have a great win, and then you're playing really well, and then you have to stop for a day, and then you come back, and then you're not playing as well 2 days later, right? Osaka gets a set with a 6-2. Yeah, there's an argument for that as well. Again, it's the more players that speak about it, the more it's going to be, maybe something happens. But I haven't heard any players support 2-week Masters. It seems like most players are like, I like 1 week better. Like, unless I'm missing something. Has any player said, like, I love 2-week Masters, these are really good, and I love them better than 1 week? Because we've heard Sinner today, I think Zverev might have said it, and Fritz might have said it recently, like in the last 12 months or so, that like 2-week Masters are not, they don't like playing them as much. Hey, Lynn, thanks for the 35 months. What is it, Papa? What is it? What's up? What is it? I can't patch it because I've got a bad finger. And Boko might seem nervous in her first final. Yeah, but she's also injured, so we'll see what she does tomorrow. The big challenge is putting the calendar together too, where we end up with 2 tournaments starting at random times, Tuesday and Fridays. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's not ideal either. Yeah. Rude also said it. Said that, okay, fair enough. Show the pup more. You got to pay for the pup. $20 and I'll show you her face. Me? Me? Can't wait for that purple ball. All right, Danny, get gone. All right. Well, it's Zverev and Khachanov possibly going to a final set tiebreak. We're just waiting to see what happens. They're 6-5 Zverev. See, if Canada had been shorter, no opportunity to make money off Mirra. I was kidding. I was kidding. These long masters feel dragged out. I agree. I think that as fans, it gets a little tiring. We've talked about that a million times. It's not fan friendly, is it? The thing about Naomi is that she has been very unlucky lately, but it seems to be clicking right now for her. Yeah, for sure. Let's see if she can win this set, because she won the first set against Tauson in Auckland, and of course she got injured. So hopefully she can get it done. Finish this match off. Play Boko tomorrow. Zverev's got match point. Well, he did have match point until he didn't. By the way, chat, yesterday I watched the Lost Boys. Great movie. Great movie. Hadn't seen it before. Great visual effects. Or not even visual effects. Great practical effects. With the makeup and the vampire, like the look of them, they look scary as anything. Great movie. Really enjoyed it. Also good cast too. And then I started to watch Flatliners, the original one, but got halfway through and then had to do something else. You're an extra in the Lost Boys? Where? When? What part? When is the final? Tomorrow. So the US Open will start on September. It usually starts late October. No, it's going to start in October. In August, sorry. Late August. Maybe the issue is the venue is so dull. I think Indian Wells 12-day at those places. Okay. I don't think Canada's the reason why the 2-week Masters are not good. I don't think Canada's the reason why it's. I don't think it's the venue or the location. I think it's the whole, the idea of it all. But someone said something really interesting yesterday. I had to think about it, and I forgot what they said. What did they say? Somebody said yesterday. I can't remember what they said. Somebody said something yesterday. But it got me thinking about. So the reason why. So let me give you a little bit of because I've done a little bit of research, not massive research, but I've done a little bit of reading. So the reason why we're having 2-week Masters, right? So there's a reason behind it. It's not just because they just want to make more money. It's not that. It's partly that, but it's not just that. The reason 2-week Masters are becoming more common is because the ATP have a vision. I think it's called One Vision, and they've got like a whole, you can go read it. It's like a whole booklet on what they want tennis to be in the future, how they want the tour to look. And the reason they want to make 2-week Masters is that they want to make those the staples of tennis. So they want to make the 4 Grand Slams and then the 1000s as that is the tour, right? Not just everybody watches slams and then pisses off and never comes back. The WTA, the ATP want to encourage people to stick around and watch the 1000s and make those flagship events, not just Indian Wells and Miami, all of the big 1000s, right? As part of their one vision. And it's based off the concept of the Formula One. So Formula One, every week or every second weekend or every other weekend, they have 20 events throughout the year, and those are the big race, right? They've got 20 of those. That's what the ATP president is trying to base this whole vision from. He's trying to implement that, where you've got all these flagship events on the Formula One circuit, and turn them into the similar tennis thing. And it makes sense, because obviously tennis runs all year round, so does Formula One. It goes from March to November or whenever. They're probably the two most long running sports, and you can see golf as well. I don't know how golf handle this stuff, but 24 events in the Formula One. Yeah, so that's why we're getting these 2-week Masters, because the ATP president wants to incorporate this one vision, which is and obviously it's got more than just the make the 1000s as big as what are you doing? Make the 1000s into Grand Slam, grand events, right? And then to have 14 or 15 key events a year. So then tennis fans, you have to watch this, and they, it makes it a little bit easier for fans to understand what is worth watching and what you don't have to watch. What is the must-watch events, and what are the least, the less, you can watch tennis after that, the 500s and such. That's the idea behind it. So that's why they're doing this. That's the reasoning behind it. Plus also, extra money for the venues or whatever, and then prize money for the players. Lower ranked players get opportunities, stuff like that. But the main thing is to make it so that there's not just the Grand Slams are the important thing. There's a lot more tournaments that are worth watching, and that for a tennis fan, it's here's the calendar. You've got to watch here. Now the problem with the Formula One, there's a couple of differences. We can't just and even golf, as Osaka won love in the second. The problem is Formula One runs from Thursday to Sunday, right? Golf runs Thursday to Sunday. Tennis runs Monday to Monday. It's every day, every week. You can't really say, well, the best players in the world are not going to play until, the weekend, because they've got to play first rounds like everybody else. They don't get to, just get a walk up to the semifinals, and then, that's not how tennis works, Whereas Formula One, everybody starts on the Thursday. They do the practices, they do the trials, all that stuff. And then the final race, everybody races on the Sunday, right? You can't do that in tennis. It's not the same. Tennis is a week-long sport, a week-long event, right? It's not just a weekend event. So I guess them doing 2-week Masters kind of gives that first week is not for the big names, and then the second week is for the big names. So the first week of a 1000, you can take that off, and you can watch the second week where it's the big names, right? I guess that's what they're trying to implement. But also the difference is, with Formula One is that Formula One, people follow the cars. They follow Lewis Hamilton, they follow Max Verstappen, but also they follow Ferrari. There's Ferrari, and whoever's driving the Ferrari is secondary, but they've got Ferrari fans. Ride or die. They swap the drivers. It's still Ferrari, right? You don't have that with tennis. You can't swap players out, because if you get rid of if the world number one doesn't play, then the world number one doesn't play. Whereas if you take Verstappen out of the Red Bull for a week because he gets hurt, you put someone else in the Red Bull's still competing, right? Jannik Sinner's not competing if he's not playing. So it's a little bit it's a little bit different, it's because obviously there's more of a team aspect to Formula One. Whereas in tennis, we don't have that at all. So, So again, hopefully that kind of clarifies. Again, if you want to do more reading, you can go watch, just write in ATP Tour One Vision, and you can go watch you can go read the whole thing. But yeah, so that's sort of a little bit of a why this is the way it is, right? Hopefully a little bit of a background why we're here and why we're doing this. Why is this happening? Whoa, hello. Gil's had a comment for longer week Masters feel like slams, whereas they felt distant before. Had a con that the longer Masters feel like Felt like what slams? What's that word? I'm confused. Anyway, it's 40-15, Tauson. As Tauson holds 1-1. I don't feel like longer masters feel like inauthentic slams, whereas they felt distinct before. Oh, is that what you're saying? They felt okay. Yeah. I'm going to have to listen to what he said so then I can understand the context. Look, there's definitely pros to it, but it doesn't feel like there's as many pros as cons to 2-week 1000s. Like I said, I think the compromise is, I think asking to make all the 1000s as important or as relevant as slams is asking way too much. It's going to be very hard to get, because it's also making it hard for the people that already watch the sport. I get trying to bring new people in and trying to keep people interested throughout the entire year, but it's also asking a lot. It's already hard enough to commit to watching tennis, right? I mean, if you guys know, right now, some of you are up at 3 a.m. watching this match, right? It's already hard enough for tennis fans to commit to focusing for the entire year. It's a lot. I mean, I don't watch any other sports except for football, the AFL, Australian football. But even then, I don't watch it that much because tennis is priority. But it's very hard to commit to this sport, and it's hard. And 1 week Masters, I feel like are a little less commitment as well for the fans. But I think they should go to pick 4 of the 1000s, promote them massively like slams, give them the most, make them mini slams, and then all the other 1000s make them a week. And that way, if you want to watch Madrid, you want to watch Canada, it's a 1 week Masters, it's optional, it's not mandatory for fans. But Cincinnati is 2 weeks, and that is the one you have to watch, otherwise you're going to miss out on something important, right? I feel like that's a better compromise. It's funny, chat, because I watch, some of you watch the Marvel movies. If you miss out on a couple of movies, you're going to have to rewatch those so you can understand what's happening in the next one. And that's a lot of homework, And 2 week Masters kind of feel a little bit like homework. It's a little bit of a chore. Because it's oh shit, I better watch it. As Osaka gets a lovely shot 2-1. If we don't watch them, then we're going to miss something. Or something's, we're going to miss a big moment. It's a lot of, it's a lot. For fans, it's a lot. So I would prefer if they picked Indian Wells, Cincinnati, Rome, and Shanghai. And make those 4 Masters 2 weeks. And make them, or even keep Miami as 2 weeks as well. So make those 5. And then just promote the hell out of them. And that means you got 4 Grand Slams, 5 1000s as must watch. And then you've got the ATP finals or WTA finals. So you got 10 events that are you have to watch these events in tennis. These are the most important events in tennis. There's 10 events a year. And then make the other 4 1 week. Madrid, Paris indoors, Canada, and Monte Carlo. Make them 1 week. They're optional. We'll watch them still. But they're optional. So that would be that's what I want. I prefer that. I would prefer that. I think it was a little easier to get for fans too. It's a little less. You're asking less of us to, you're asking us to. We're already got to try and watch WTA and ATP, which are totally different organizations anyway. Time commitment as a fan is a little bonkers. Yeah. I mean, not to mention the players. The commitment for the players have to. The tournaments have. Players have to play 1000. It's a commitment, unless they're injured or whatever. Cam is going and going and going. I mean, it's called Tennis Talk, and we're talking about tennis. I don't understand why you're complaining. It's just it's on the door. The name is on the door. Zverev lost. Hashnov beats Zverev from a match point down. That's crazy. Well, we've got Shelton versus Fritz coming up, so that's fun. Stop ignoring Gauff won the doubles. Can you stop complaining? We talked about Gauff. We talked about Gauff winning doubles before. Can you stop crying? All right, 2-1 Osaka, by the way. Difference between Khachanov and Zverev is mental strength. Well played, Khachanov. Yeah, that's great for. I mean, Khachanov beating Zverev to make the final is huge. That his best. That must be his best win ever, Khachanov. Maybe the second best behind beating Djokovic in Paris a couple of years, 7 years ago. All right, in the net from Tauson, love 30. All right, love 30. Most people just like to argue and fight online. They're cowards in real life. L. No, I don't think people are trying to fight. They just forget their manners when they type. There's no manners online, like on the internet. Apparently, like that's just not. I can't be bothered typing please or thank you. That's just not. Internet, no manners on the internet. Anyway, it's 4-4 rally. Is it a backhand from Tauson? Love 30. Another backhand for Tauson in the form of Osaka. Tauson with a slice goes wide. It's love 40. All right, love 40. Love 40. People are addicted to complaining about what they don't want, get, or have. Yeah, it's really like I have to catch myself sometimes just in life. You know, complaining is so easy, but also it's like so bad for you. Like, it's not good for you. Backhand winner from Osaka, 3-1. I mean, I have to catch myself even like streaming. You know, like I don't want to complain about 1000s being 2 weeks, but I want to talk about it and try and and see what you guys feel about it. But complaining is so easy. So easy, and it eats you up inside. You know, I feel like it doesn't help. Getting it out is fine, but then like just constantly complaining is just I'm not a fan. I try I try to keep it in check, you know. But it is easy to complain. All right, 3-1. Osaka with a set and a break. She is cruising. And then Osaka gets lucky with a net cord and Tauson just slaps the ball in net with her hand. She's not happy. All right, Osaka gets a little bit of luck. 15. Love. All right, first serve is a fault, second serve. We're gonna get this Fritz and Shelton match started as well in a little bit, so we'll do it after this game. Double fault, 15-all. $15-all. Is it a backhand return? No, it's a fault. Second serve. $15-all. Complaining is fine if you propose a solution, as you have. Yeah, true. That's a good point. That's productive complaining. 15-30. If you're complaining to like try and come to a solution or trying to figure it out, like I complain about like 2-week masters. Oh man, they're away. Blah blah blah, and then try and figure out. Okay, well, how can they not be annoying? Okay, I guess that's at least I'm trying to fix the problem. Complaining for no reason. I mean, that's pointless, right? Complaining and just to for no reason. So what are you going to do about it? I don't know. 30 all. 30 all. All right, first serve is a fault, second serve. As the return goes in the form of Osaka, 4-0 from Tauson is a winner, I think. Yep, 30-40. Tauson a chance to get the break back. All right, 30-40 to get back the break. Osaka serves. A fault, second serve. Second serve. To the forehand of Tauson. Good return. Osaka backhand goes in. Tauson goes with the forehand to the forehand of Osaka. Tauson forehand again to the forehand of Osaka. Hits it in the net. We're back on serve. 3-2 in the second. All right. Let's see who Hashanov's going to play in the final. All right, what's going on? Welcome. We've got to do another doubleheader because of the timings of these matches. Shelton is taking on Fritz. Blockbuster matchup. Winner's going to take on Hashanov, who just beat Zverev in match point 7. By the way, 2 matches in already today. Both of match points have been saved in each of those matches. We're also watching Osaka play Tauson. All right. Beating Madison Keys don't mean too much. What are you talking about? She won a Grand Slam. Of course it means much. That's a big win. All right. Didn't Tauson win 2 tournaments this year already? She won Auckland, but I can't think of... Did she win 2 tournaments? Maybe. She made the final of a 1,000 this year as well. All right. I bet I would have a... It would have meant a lot to Sabalenka at the Australian Open. I bet it would have. What do you mean? Okay. Tauson to serve. She's back on serve here, 3-2. We've got Fritz and Shelton. They've only played the one time, which was back in Indian Wells a couple of years ago. And Fritz got the win, but Shelton's a lot better than he was then. And it's going to be interesting. This is like a bat, like... And again, I don't know the stat because I can't friggin' find it, but I think it's the first time in at least, I'm going to say 15 years, that we've got 2 American men in the top 10 playing each other. I don't know when the last time was. I could guess, but I think it's the first time in at least 15 years, at least, that 2 American top 10 players on the men's side are playing each other. Because on the women's side, of course, we get that a lot because Gauff, lately we've had like Gauff, Pegula, Keys, Collins, Navarro, Anisimova. But on the men's side, it hasn't happened for a long time. I'm going to say at least 15 years, if not more. And if I had to guess, it would be back either when it was like Marty Fish and Andy Roddick. Maybe they played as top 10 players against each other. Or you might have to go further back to like James Blake and Andy Roddick. Or Andre Agassi. Like you'd have to go back to the mid-2000s possibly. So I'm guessing it was probably Fish Roddick. Because remember, Agassi retired in 2006 and Roddick retired in 2012. So Fish Roddick sounds about, because Marty Fish was in the top 10 for a stint. In fact, let me have a look. I could probably figure this out. Because since 2010-ish, America's had a couple of top 10 players on the men's side. We knew that Fritz Tiafoe hadn't played as top 10 players. They had played, but not as top 10. Tiafoe's been top 10. Fritz, Sock, Isner, they didn't play as top 10 players recently in the last few years. Other than that, Isner was top 10. Andy was top 10. I don't know how many American men were top 10 in the mid-2000s. I don't think... 2010, sorry. Not many. Not many, I don't think. All right, 15:30 here. Osaka a chance to get the break. And lead again. She hits a volley. Up goes a lob by Tauson. Smash from Osaka goes long. 30-all. 30-all. All right, let me have a look here. So, Andy Roddick versing the top 10. Let me have a look. All right, so Andy... Okay, so the last time Roddick... So Roddick and Blake were both in the top 10 in 2006 at Queen's Club in the semis, and it was 5 versus 7. So that was the last time... so apparently Andy Roddick didn't play Marty Fish both in the top 10. They never played. So Blake, Roddick, 2006... was could have been the last time. Let me check what Agassi was, because Agassi obviously was top 10 in 2006 as well. Agassi was top 10 before that. So that might be the answer. Unless Blake was top 10 after that. I'm trying to think who else was top 10 in who else was in the top 10? Who else was in the top 10 at that time? As Osaka gets the break, 4-2. Yeah, Marty Fish and Andy Roddick played in Cincinnati, but Fish wasn't number 10. Wasn't in the top 10, so that's what we're getting at. So Blake never played... Wait, hang on, what? Oh, no, hang on. Blake... Okay, so Blake... Yeah, Blake's only ever top 10 match as a top 10 player was against Roddick in that match I mentioned. So, as far as I know, unless we can think of something, it's nearly been 20 years since 2 top 10 American males have played against each other. 2006 Queen's Club seems to be the last time. Yeah, I don't know about Isner, though. I don't think Isner played a top 10 male... from America, because there hasn't been that many. It's been a very rare. That you could probably we could probably name all the players that made the top 10 from America since 2005. 15-all. So. Yeah, Isner never played an American top 10 man as a top 10 player. He played top 10 Americans, but not as a top 10 himself. All right, 15:30. Let's have a look at Marty Fish. Did Marty Fish play any top 10 Americans as a top 10? No, Marty Fish only played Novak Djokovic. He only played Djokovic, Federer, Andy Murray, Tsonga. Yeah, so Marty Fish never played an American as a top 10 himself. As Osaka double faults and we get to 15:40. And let's talk about Taylor Fritz. So Fritz Yeah, and this is the first time Fritz is playing against a top 10 American in his career as a top 10 player himself. So again, it must be that 2006 match. It's the last match that happened 20 years ago. As Osaka comes to the net and puts it away, 30-40. So 19 years ago, Sam Querrey was never top 10. He was sort of top 16, I think, but he was never top 10. Top 20, right? He was top 20? Yeah, he was number 11. This close. He was number 11. So, yeah. So, the last time, chat, that we witnessed two American men in the top 10 play each other was back in 2006. Unless somebody comes up with some other answer. 30-40. There's a bit of forehand from Osaka. That's good to the slice of Tauson. Osaka forehand again is a winner. It's deuce. So, I think, what am I getting at? Well, it just kind of shows that how good American tennis and men's tennis is getting. If we're getting a Masters 1000 semi-final between two top 10 American men for the first time in 20 years, it means that American tennis on the men's side is not doing it badly. It wasn't great for a while, but it's starting to pick up. You know, it's starting to pick up. Obviously, Tommy Paul, you got Francis Tiafoe just outside the top 10, as well as these guys. But American tennis for the men is starting to is definitely improving. If you've got two top 10 players playing each other for the first time in 20 years, it's definitely getting better. All right. Osaka to get to 5-2. And we default second serve. American men's tennis is back. It's definitely coming back. It's having a definite resurgence with these younger guys. As Osaka on that deuce. And I mean, if I look at the rankings for the Americans on the men's side, you've got Tiafoe at 14, Tommy Paul at 16. You got Nakashima at 31. You got Mickelson at 33. Korda's at 45, despite being injured. Lerner Tien is at 55. Giron at 63. Opelka at 73. Quinn's at 82. McDonald at 95. And Brooksby is 101. So it's... and Kovacevic is 66. So, yeah. It's getting there. It's getting better. But more importantly, there's four men in the top 10 and in the top 20 that are from America. That's the more important, situation. Is that you've got Paul, Tiafoe, Fritz, and Shelton, top 10 guys, the top 20 guys, sorry, and all of them have been in the top 10 in the last year or a couple of years. But Fritz is the king of American tennis for the men. He is the number one. He's the top dog. He's been the top dog for a while. I think he's been the number one American for a while. He dropped out of the top 10 for a second, and somebody, I think maybe Tiafoe overtook him, but and I think also Shelton maybe was number 11 when he was number 12 for a couple of weeks, but in the last 12 months, and for the best part of the last probably 3 years, it's all been Fritz has been the top dog. I disagree. Okay, then. Tell me who has been the best American player over the last 4 years, if not Fritz, on the men's side. If you disagree, give me your answer, please. Advantage Osaka. Tommy Paul was the number one American for a while there, for a couple of weeks too, yeah. Yeah, they overtook him for a second, but yeah. All right, advantage Osaka as the return goes to the backhand of Osaka. For now from Tauson is a winner. Back to deuce. All right, deuce. I disagree. I agree with the past 4 years. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying the best of all time. I'm saying in the 2020s. Like over the last 5 years. I think Paul's been better in the last year. I don't agree with that. I mean, Paul hasn't done as much as Fritz has done. Fritz has made semis of Wimbledon, quarter final of US. I think. By the way, I think it's starting to rain in Toronto. I think Fritz has been better than Paul in the last 12 months. Tommy's been better on clay, though. So, I don't know. I mean, Fritz disappeared on the clay. All right, advantage Tauson. As Osaka serves an ace, we're back to deuce. And Boko was born in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yep. All right, deuce. By the way, Chad, it's interesting. Bradley says US was spoiled for a long time with McEnroe, Connors, Agassi, Sampras. I mean, that's just you're just scratching the surface with how many players we could name, right? But Chad, what happened? Let's throw out some theories. What happened in the 2000s? And besides Sampras and Agassi retiring, what happened? Let's say in the year 2000, from 2000 onwards, what happened that Americans men's tennis has not been as successful? What has been the difference? There's probably no one answer. It's probably multiple things, right? But what do you think is one of the causes that American tennis hasn't been as good on the men's side for the best part of, for the most, pretty much 25 years? Since Agassi and Sampras departed, what happened? Big three. Okay, that's a great answer, right? The big three happened, right? Okay. The big three, definitely a huge factor. A massive factor, for sure. That's definitely one of the things. Back to deuce here. Europeans dominant. Yeah, that's it. Like that's sort of where I'm thinking too. Like, did other sports become more lucrative for Americans to play? Like, was it like maybe tennis in like in the 80s and 90s was like you got paid better for playing tennis than you did for other sports. So like playing basketball or playing golf or playing, whatever else, football wasn't like the money wasn't there. So it's like, I'm going to go play tennis instead because I could probably make a better shot at it. But then in the 90s, with mainly with Michael Jordan popularizing basketball, making it international and all that stuff, a lot of money comes into NBA, maybe more people, especially because if you look at these guys are both 6'4", 6'5", right? Both of these guys could be point guards, height-wise for NBA teams, right? Or even, whatever, I don't know what other positions they could play. But do you think it's like, people are choosing basketball over tennis because basketball got more popular, maybe? Or other sports became more popular and it became more of a choice that, I don't know, maybe that's something to consider too. Anyways, they've left the court because it's raining or it's, sprinkling. Osaka gets broken. So we're back on serve, 4-3. See, I don't know. I mean, the big three is the big one. Right? That's the big answer. The big three stopped a lot of players from winning. But the thing is, if we break down the big three's influence on tennis, and it stopped Andy Roddick from winning slams, but did the big three stop John Isner from winning multiple slams? Maybe he might have won one or two, but were they the reason he didn't win? Were they the reason that Marty Fish didn't win a slam? Because if you think about, it would be different if America was, dominating up until they played the big three. But even then, Americans, there's been very, very little American influence on the men's side. Even, during the big three era, but also just in general. Even now. We're talking about how good it's now because, a group of guys are starting to come up. But, is it a coincidence that it's because the big three have retired? Because Fritz was still playing in 2018, 2019, and the big three was still very much around. Again, I think it's one of the big factors, but But if the big three were stopping Americans from winning tennis, wouldn't the Americans still be... There'd still be a lot of good Americans to playing tennis in the top of the game at the time? Whereas I think we can name most of the top 20 Americans in the last 20 years. You know, there's not that many, unfortunately. I don't know. It would be, I mean, maybe it is the case, but I'm just going to try it. We'll have to do some digging. I mean, we all know that Andy would have won more slams had the big three not been around. That's a fact. I'll tell you this, chat, maybe, and stick with me, maybe if the big three weren't around, Andy wins more slams and more people want to get into tennis because of Andy Roddick. So maybe not just because the big three were dominating, but maybe because the domination of the big three stopped Andy from winning more slams, who was the face of American tennis for the most, like post Sampras and Agassi, right? He was American tennis, right? Maybe had he have won more because the big three weren't around, more people would have been like, I want to be like Andy Roddick and I want to play tennis and I want to get into this sport. But because he was stopped by them, that didn't happen. And people didn't watch tennis. People weren't getting into tennis as much because Andy wasn't as successful as he would have been had they not been around. Maybe. Again, I'm just saying, just speaking out loud. Thinking out loud here. 40 love. As a return goes into the forehand of Tauson. Forehand from Osaka to the forehand of Tauson. Tauson hits a winner. 4-0. On the men's side. By the way, on the women's side, American tennis has been fine. Serena and now Coco and Keys and Pegula. I mean, women's tennis has always been fine in America. It's on the men's side of things that things have there's a drought, right? Oh, is it a storm delay? Is that what's happening on? I thought it was is it no, the company's storm because they would have left the court. Our best athletes still aren't in tennis. Yeah, well, that's what I said earlier. You know, maybe it was because other sports got more popular and it became more lucrative to go play NBA or try your hand. But and also, chat, you have to be a certain height. You know, there is a height limit to tennis on the men's side. You know, it's unfortunate, but it's true. You know, if you're under 6 foot, it's going to be very hard to be successful in tennis. You have to be at least 6 foot tall. You know, in the modern game, and the most players are, you know, between, you know, whatever. The best players are between 6'2" and 6'6", right? Or 6'3", 6'6". 30 love. Oh, the line calling is broken. It's not rain. Oh, okay. I can't tell. It's dark and it's blurry. But no, okay. So the line calling is broken. That's what it is. The electronic. Oh, okay. The electronic line calling is a malfunctioning. That's what it is. Agassi was 5'10". Yeah, but Agassi doesn't play anymore. He hasn't played for 20 years. I'm saying nowadays. And Alcaraz is the exception. Like, everybody else is taller than Alcaraz. He's the shortest player in the top 10. Maybe Demonor, but I mean, Alcaraz is the exception. Look at everybody. Everybody else is taller than Alcaraz, and maybe you don't have to be. I mean, maybe everyone can be Alcaraz. But anyways, backhand in the net from Osaka, 40-15. But again, you know, I know people think it's because tennis is too expensive. Okay, maybe that's part of it. But also, if you're growing up, and I'm speaking from an Australian because this happens in Australia too, we are spoiled for choice when it comes to sport. We have so many different sports that you can go down, so many different avenues. You can go you can play. Most kids play multiple sports as a kid, and then they decide, you know, they pick and choose whichever one. Usually it's based on what your friends are doing. You know, if your friends are playing a sport, you're going to hang out with them. You go play that sport. You know, if your friends aren't playing tennis, then you're not going to be playing tennis, right? I mean, even when I think of me, like when I learned tennis, I played tennis at the place where my friends were playing, and I kept playing tennis there afterwards, but I originally was playing tennis because of where my friends were playing tennis. You know. Could well be a delay reaction to the big three making their impact as the children of the 2000s got streamed into tennis. They came out 20 years later. What do you mean? Tennis is among the most prestigious sports, so naturally it prices a lot of common people out of the sport. I mean, it's the reason why it's prestigious, I think, is the travel. I don't think it's because tennis. Tennis lessons are expensive. You can go down that, but I think it's more just like the traveling is expensive. Like traveling to tournaments, especially if you don't live in. Like, if you live in Europe, I think it's probably easier because there's more. You don't have to travel as far. But I know as an Australian, traveling overseas to become, Demon had to leave. At a young age, to go do that. Barty retired, for a while because she didn't, she was away from home. Anyways, this is not about Australia. This is about America. American tennis. But yeah, and I've said this for years that I think the best thing for tennis on the men's side is for American success. Because, like it or not, if you hate it or not, whatever, America, in a sporting world, except for football, soccer, the popularity of sports in America helped the sport. If it's popular in the US, then it's going to be more popular. Like it's going to boost it massively. And especially on the men's side of tennis, because it hasn't had the market players, the big names, because of, all the reasons we're mentioning, maybe. But if American players are playing well, on the men's side as well, not just the women's side, because Serena's been holding it up for so long. On the men's side as well, then people are going to watch tennis more because, let's be real, a lot of people only watch the players that from their country. I mean, it happens in Australia too. People ask me, what is De Minaur doing? What's Kyrgios doing? They don't know who Ben Shelton is. They don't know who Taylor Fritz is. They don't care about them. Australians are following Australians like Americans would follow Americans, right? Love 30. So the popularity of tennis in America will only increase if there's good American players on the men's side and the women's side. And the women are doing a great job. And the men are starting to do a great job too. But America do drive the popularity of these sports, of our sport too, right? I mean, 15:30. Uh, 15:30. As we get a return now, goes out by Osaka. 30-all. Serve again. There's a fault, second serve. It's like the popularity of tennis in Italy is skyrocketing because of Sinner. Exactly. So American success on the men's side as well as the women's side will increase. The popularity of the sport, and the popularity of the sport tennis being popular again in America is a good thing for the sport. And it's also going to encourage younger kids to get into the sport, because they want to play like, this play. They want to play like that play, right? I mean, we're having the same thing in Australia with Leighton was our last champion. But now we've got a couple of players coming through with De Minaur and Popperin, right? The young players that are doing well. But we're having the same thing. I mean, probably the UK as well, right? Andy Murray single-handedly bringing back British tennis, and you got guys like Draper coming through. Obviously, Raducanu helping with winning a slam. As Osaka gets a return winner, we get the deuce. And then you look at all the players that are going to go, oh yeah, I started playing tennis because of Andy Murray, right? Or I started playing tennis because of, I started playing tennis before I started watching Leighton, but I kept watching tennis and playing tennis because of Leighton Hewitt. This channel wouldn't exist if Leighton Hewitt wasn't around, So it's good that we're getting, at the end of the day, it's good that we're getting Shelton and Fritz, who are both top 10, playing each other in a big 1,000 tournament. This is huge for tennis, especially in the US. It's a huge deal. It just needs to be at a Grand Slam. So we need to have this match at the US Open in a couple weeks. All right, back to deuce. Osaka trying to get the match win here. Also, the guys are back on court. They're going to warm up again because they had a long delay. Backhand to backhand rally. As with a slice on the forehand of Osaka. Forehand now from Tauson on the stretch. Goes wide. Osaka's back to deuce. Back to deuce. All right, serve again from Tauson. As the return goes into the backhand. Forehand of Tauson. Tauson puts it away. Advantage Tauson. Serve again. As the return goes in the forehand of Tauson. Forehand from Osaka. Again, the forehand of Tauson. As Osaka forehand goes the backhand of Tauson. The backhand of Osaka. Tauson backhand. Nope. Osaka hit it wide. We're back on serve. It's 5-5. 5-all. 5-5. Seems like you gained some weight. Thanks for noticing. I appreciate that. I'm bulking. It's winter. When it gets over 10 degrees Celsius, that's when I start shredding. Good thing it's 25 these days. What's 25? What's 25? Scoreboard very lag. Yeah, but just, you'll get over it. It'll be fine. All right, 5-all. As the return goes into the backhand of Osaka. Forehand now from Tauson. Again, the forehand of Osaka. But Osaka hits it out. Love 15. Love 15. Love 15. There's a serve again from Osaka. And the forehand of Tauson. To the backhand of Osaka. Forehand from Tauson. Again to the forehand of Osaka. There's Tauson slice on the stretch. Another forehand winner there from Osaka. 15-all. The reason why Shelton and Fritz is delayed is because of technical difficulties. It was tech difficulties from the electronic line calling was broken. So 15-all. As Osaka hits it out, 15-30. 15-30. What will tennis be like in 50 years? I don't know. I'll be dead. All right, 15-30. Is it a backhand out of the forehand of Tauson? Forehand from Osaka again, the forehand of Tauson. As Osaka forehand again to the forehand of Tauson. Osaka forehand win across court. 30-all. 30-all. All right, Fritz and Shelton are about to start. I'm going to go Fritz in 3. All right, love 15. First point goes to Shelton. All right, 40-30 Osaka. (40-30) As Osaka serves. As the return goes out by Tauson. Osaka 6-5. Stays in front. All right. 15-all by the way. As we return now from Shelton to the forehand of Fritz. Fritz in the net. 15-30. 15-30. Chance for Shelton to break first game of the match. The backhand from Shelton into the forehand of Fritz. The backhand of Shelton. Fritz with the forehand again. The backhand of Shelton. With Fritz forehand. Into the backhand of Shelton again. The forehand of Fritz. Shelton backhand. Into that Fritz forehand. Is Shelton again with the backhand. Goes in the net though, and it's 30-all. By the way, Lego apparently is sponsoring the Toronto tournament. That's wild. Why won't they sponsor me? 30-all. I'll do the serve. Into the back of the whoops. The Tauson sitting down. She's not doing nothing. 30-all. As Shelton hits a forehand. Winner. Break point. 30-40. 30-40. Lego trophy. That'd be kind of sick. That'd be actually kind of awesome. All right, 30-40. Shelton. A chance for him to take the break starting strong. As a return, goes the forehand of Fritz. Backhand of Shelton. Into the forehand of Fritz. To the backhand of Shelton. It's Fritz forehand again. Into the backhand of Shelton. And Shelton in the net. We get to deuce. God, they really do pick on Shelton's backhand, don't they? He is... I mean, his backhand's not terrible, but they keep hitting it to his backhand. Like even Demonor was doing it the other night. Didn't work, but his backhand is like, that is the place that everyone's trying to attack. Ace from Fritz, advantage. All right, as Tauson hits a lovely volley, and it's 30-love. All right, 30-love is with a forehand advantage for Fritz. Shelton goes into the backhand of Fritz. The forehand of Shelton. Shelton hits it out. And Fritz holds 1-love in this first set. Pardon me. All right. Tauson backhand winner, 40-love. (40-love). As a forehand from Tauson goes wide. And it's a 40-15. 40-15. As a return from Osaka in the net. All right, tie break. Who's winning this tie break? 6-6. 6-all. Tauson gets to the breakup. Osaka serving first. By the way, if Shelton and Fritz don't play a tiebreak, something happened. As the return goes in the backhand of Osaka, point now from Tauson. And the forehand of Osaka is Tauson backhand. The backhand of Osaka in the net. One love Tauson. She gets the mini break first. Oh, Fruit Loops. I gotta go to the doctor tomorrow. Shit. When's the final? Anyone know the final for tomorrow? What time? Anybody? Hello? Somebody? When is the final tomorrow? What time? 7:30 for the men. What about the ladies? $5 p.m.? 6 p.m. Wait, when? 6 p.m. Local time, okay. 3 love, by the way, Tauson. 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Time, I think. Is it? Okay, that's all right. That's fine. Everything's fine. All right, so the women's final's on an hour before the men's final. That's fine. So I got to get up at 7 a.m., 6 a.m. All right, Osaka gets on the board. (3-1) Tauson. Fuck. What time is it where you are? It's 1 p.m. As that goes out from Tauson. And it's 3-2. Tauson with the break. Break point for Fritz, by the way. 30-40. Shelton serves again. 30-40. (30-40) as Shelton serves. Serve is a fault. Second serve. Serving to the forehand. Fritz. Return goes out and it's deuce. All right, 4-2 Tauson in this breaker. Shelton gets the deuce. As they're backing up from Shelton in the forehand of Fritz. Shelton hits it out and it's advantage Fritz. As that goes into the net from Osaka, 5-2 Tauson. And Osaka's going to serve. She's only down 1 mini break though, but she can't afford to lose any more points. He's going to backhand into the forehand of Fritz. Backhand of Shelton. Again, the forehand of Fritz. Shelton backhand again. Into the forehand of Fritz. Shelton again with the backhand. Into the Fritz backhand. And Shelton goes down the line with the forehand. Fritz gets it back. Shelton backhand again. The forehand of Fritz, who hits a winner. No, he hits it long. The winner was there. We missed it. Deuce. All right. 5-3. Osaka wins the point. Tauson 5-3. Osaka serves the fault. Second serve. As the return goes wide by Tauson. 5-4. Tauson's going to serve for the set. 5-4. Tauson. Also Shelton with the advantage. As the return goes in the forehand of Tauson. Backhand now from Osaka. Goes wide. 6-4 Tauson to take the second set. And to take us to a third. Also, Shelton holds 1-all. Tauson. She serves. A fault. Jeez, that was close. Hawkeye said no. Second serve. Double fault. Six, 5. We're back on serve. Six, 5. As Osaka serves. Still set point though. As Tauson returned the net. 6-all. They change heads. 6-6. And now Osaka's going to try and get a match point. All right. 6-6. 2 set points saved by Osaka. Shelton, by the way, he's at love 30. Love 40, I mean. As that goes the net from Tauson, and Osaka gets a match point. 7-6 to take on Mboko in the final tomorrow. 7-6 Osaka. But it's on Tauson's serve. All right. Tauson serves. Into the form of Osaka. The form from Tauson, the form of Osaka. Osaka hits it out. We're at 7-0. Also still break point here for Shelton. As Fritz with the backhand. Into the form of Shelton. Shelton hits it out. 30-40. All right, 7-0. 7 to the form of Osaka. Return winner from Osaka. Okay. Now Osaka's going to serve with a match point. 8-7. Osaka to take her spot in the final. And to take on Mboko tomorrow, which is not going to be... She's not going to have any support. But that's all right. All right, 8-7. First serve is a fault. Second serve. Second serve. Into the front of Tauson in the net. And Osaka is into the final. She's going to take on Mboko. And Naomi Osaka will also get a performance bye, just like Mboko will in Cincy. So they won't have to play first rounds. As Shelton gets another break point advantage. But Naomi Osaka wins the biggest final in her comeback. And her first 1,000 final, I think, since, I want to say Miami 2022. So in over 3 years, the first time she's made it to a big 1,000 final in a long time. And now she's going to take on the young, up-and-coming player. So this is going to be interesting. It's going to be a good final. Going to be a fun final. Unseeded winner as well. So let's see which one of the two is going to get the win. And Mboko is coming in with a bit of an injury, so we'll keep an eye on that tomorrow. But great for Osaka. Great win for Osaka. Yeah, Vitrovsky, he deserves a... I mean, if he's not going to work together after this, it's crazy. They got to work together after this. That'd be crazy. All right. GG's. Fritz with the advantage, by the way. We're going to merge the streams in a second, but great win for Osaka. All right, advantage Fritz. And the return goes to front of Fritz. Lob goes up from Shelton. It goes out, though. 2-1. Fritz holds in this first set. 17 minutes for 3 games. All right. If you want to keep watching the Fritz Shelton match, jump on over. We're going to merge the streams just to make it easier for us all. But Naomi Osaka, she's in the final. She'll take on Mboko tomorrow in the final of Montreal. And yeah, she's going to be playing the biggest final since 2022 in her career. So big chance to win a big trophy for the first time since, I think, 21, where she won the Australian Open. I think that was the last time she won a massive trophy. But checks out Tauson, and she's going to play on Mboko tomorrow.